This week, I talked to Coryn Hendrix, the founder of Board Meetings, an LGBTQIA+ and allies skate and social group here in Indianapolis that meets regularly at a variety of different skate parks around town. I had known about the predecessor to this group, Grind Culture, for quite a while, and I met the founder, Carly, basically a week before she left for California, so I was so overjoyed to see that Coryn was carrying the banner of queer skating in this city forward and had a great time chatting. Before the show, I want to thank everyone who helps support the show, and if you are interested in helping me sustain the podcast, you can go to support.thirdspaceindy.com, or you can do something as simple as clicking subscribe, liking the video, or leaving a review on your preferred platform. Now, on to the show.
Yeah, that voice in your head that critiques you constantly. My friend Apollo taught me to call that voice Elizagirth. And we just
Elizagirth?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the breakdown of that word? I need to know.
Well,
we're spelling it out.
Yeah. You got your Elizabeth and then Girth.
Hello, my name is Michael Zarek, and this is Third Space Indy. In 1989, a man named Ray Oldenburg wrote a book called The Great Good Place. And in this book, he coined the term the third place. This describes a place that is outside of your work and outside of your home, that you can go be with others and build community. So I've made it my job to find people all over Indianapolis who are doing their very best to create those types of spaces. Today, I'm joined with someone based in counterculture, I think, at least in a lot of different ways, and someone who is doing something that I've always found like really compelling and cool, which is skating. So that brings me to today's guest, Coryn Hendrix. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing really well. First of all, I have to say this into the microphone that you are the most accommodating guest so far. You brought 2 chairs and you brought a blanket for us to sit on. You also scouted like 4 locations for us to be, and you offered a specific tree to sit under, which we are sitting under. How's it?
Yeah, it didn't take much. I know sometimes skate parks can be intimidating, and but I really love this spot. It's a spot that my friends and I have gravitated toward every time that we come here as a group. And I have some great memories under this tree. Yeah.
Is there something specific about this tree, or is it just like because it has a good view of the skate park?
I think it's really because this obstacle behind us is just a great beginner obstacle, really. So like my friends who skateboard especially would learn kick turns here, and the first basic steps. And yeah.
Okay. Anytime I will interrupt you, but anytime you use a skate term, I'm going to say, what does that mean?
Okay.
So what is a kick turn?
A kick turn is when you go on a skateboard up a ramp that, I guess up anywhere, and then you lift your front wheels, spin them around, and then go back down.
Okay, got it. I think the most like common knowledge for like skateboarding is like an ollie, which is just a jump.
Yes.
Yeah. But also still extremely hard to do as far as I know.
I can't do it.
So for those who may not know who you are and what you do, let the people know.
Okay. So I am the founder of Board Meeting Indy, which is sort of a spin-off of an existing skate meetup called Grind Culture Indy. And really, Grind Culture Indy expanded way beyond being a skate meetup. So we are really just a branch that is only a skate meetup at this point. But the skate meetup has traditionally always been in the Factory Arts District parking lot. It's just a place, it's very informal. We just play music, skate around, talk, do crafts. And it has always been, Grind Culture was a she-they skate meetup. So it was supposed to be a place where skaters who aren't as comfortable sometimes in skating spaces could go and be together and feel safer. And over the years, a lot of us started loving skate park skating. So now that it's Board Meeting, we're kind of switching up the locations. And giving people a chance to go to intimidating places with other. Now we're specifically an LGBTQIA plus and ally skate meetup. So
Got it.
he, hims are welcome.
Okay, I was wondering that.
But you have to be cool with queer and trans people.
I understand that test very well. It has been laid upon me a lot, especially as like a heterosexual. Heterosexual, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Heterosexual cis male. It's like that test has been laid upon me.
Yeah.
And I think I've passed sometimes.
You know.
Wait, not sometimes. Every time. Don't hurt me.
Yeah. I think our bar is more of neutrality, even that people who have come to Grind Culture and Board Meeting have always been amazing and supportive. It's never ever been a place that someone has been kicked out of. So
that's an impressive stat.
That is impressive. It is just a magical place. I do think Macy and Carly made it a magical place, but I definitely witness now taking over that everybody who shows up contributes to that, and it is awesome.
One thing I really love about Grind Culture and Board Meetings is the name.
Yeah.
It's like obviously it's like co-opting such like boring elder millennial terminology, which is like grind culture, which is like millionaire grind set, like lock in, do your most. But you guys are Grind Culture is like such a relaxed space, and then because you're the offshoot, you're Board Meetings, which is another like obviously very creative like way of co-opting something kind of boring. Was that an intentional decision did you come up with the name?
Carly actually came up with it the day that I visited. Carly, the founder of Grind Culture, moved to California at the end of last year, and I visited her at her new home, and we came up with this idea, and she said it like 2 seconds, no thinking involved. So
maybe it was like a self-reflection. She's like, if I could go back, this is what I would have done.
Yeah. And we're really leaning into it because we're also going to do a professional development, which is like little training sessions with some of the more advanced skaters. And so, yeah, definitely. I remember their first merch was a shirt that said anti-grind, grind culture. I loved that.
So for you, who has now come into a sort of pseudo leadership position, or maybe not even pseudo, an actual leadership position, like how did you sort of stumble into this, and like how does it feel to be an organizer in this way?
Well, when Carly told us that she was moving, she had assumed that it just wouldn't go on anymore, and immediately for a lot of us the question was more of who is going to do it than is it going to be done? And we wanted to make sure that we did it in a way that respects Grind Culture, of course, because they continue to... I'm not really sure what they're going to do next, but I know that they are continuing to create new things. New ideas are cooking. Mm-hmm. So... yeah,
shout out to Macy Lethgo.
Shout out to Macy.
She's cool.
She is so cool and doing amazing things outside of Grind Culture as well. And anyway... there were people who had wanted to do it and something kept them from being able to, and it finally got to the point that Carly was gone. So that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna go see Carly, and I just need this to keep going, because it's been really the things that the connections I made in Grind Culture have done for my life are actually crazy. I met my boss roller skating past her at
your current employer?
Yes. Oh. And I am a water engineer. I'm not a skate related person, but I met her skating past her at the Feast of Lanterns when my friend Jody, the lead singer of Public Universal Friend, was headlining, and Martha, whose kid came to Grind Culture, puts on the Feast of Lanterns.
Yes.
So
hi, Martha.
Hi, Martha.
I think you listen sometimes, maybe.
Everyone in the city, I love you.
That's a sweeping statement.
Well,
I can think of at least one person I do not love in the city.
That's really fair, but yeah, all the people I can think of right now, I love you.
Okay, I accept.
But yeah, so I met my boss there. She's an incredible woman. Other people have gotten jobs, even found homes that were not like on a public market,
Yeah.
selling my neighbors selling their home. And yeah, it's just been a cool space to get the community that I feel most people are starving for today.
Okay, first of all, I want to talk about you a little bit in terms of like your skating prowess. Every video you post on Instagram is you in roller skates, as far as I know. So do you do only roller skating, or do you do skateboarding? Or you mentioned cycling earlier.
Yeah, I really deleted my Instagram at some point in my early adulthood, and then I got it back because my friend Jenny introduced me to park skating. So I really only had Instagram for that. And it is, as you are getting to know, when you're on a skate algorithm, you see it's a really great space for sharing tutorials and, so I still use Instagram as a social media now, as a social medium.
Yeah, but more so like in terms of like what you're doing when you are skating. Like, are you doing skateboarding, or are you only doing roller skating?
Oh, yeah, I do skateboard, and I don't practice it much. It's almost like a reprieve because I do push myself a lot with roller skating, and with skateboarding, I've dropped in once without help and never again. It's been years since I did that. So I practice maybe once every 3 months.
Roller skating? Or skateboarding, sorry.
Yeah.
But roller skating.
Yes.
4 wheels, not inline.
Yeah. Quads.
That's a way better statement. What is it about that about quads that you find compelling, and like is it like a freedom of movement type thing? Or I made the joke earlier that these are actually your real feet because you're wearing them right now.
Yeah. I've absolutely gotten the comment from people that I look like short, or I just don't look like myself when I'm not wearing my skates. And I feel a lot more comfortable in them. So I think definitely if you're ever standing next to me on my skates, I'm like constantly moving, and that is really appealing to me. And I love the history of like dance on roller skates, and roller skating has always been a subversive space. Back when roller rinks were segregated, it was a place that Black people would commune together and have fun, especially, and create new things together. And that always appealed to me. My pappy was a roller skater. My mom was a roller skater, and I have her 1980s roller skates.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's appealed to us for the same reason. And then doing it at the park also kind of combines almost an abolitionist space of like prison industrial complex abolition. It's maybe not quite so, maybe people don't have the theory as much as
well, listen, when you think a lot about like things like, for example, the way I think about like third spaces and community spaces and like the reason they are the way they are, it makes total sense to draw those types of connections.
Yeah.
What exactly, finish the statement. I want to hear it.
I love that this place is a place that imagines the world could be better with less policing and less violence against people, and everything good about the skate park comes from that to me.
Is it sort of like that counterculture idea of like having freedom of movement and expression?
Yeah, I do think that is where the roots come from, like, and the music that people listened to when skateboarding first became popular in the 1900s. I don't want to wrongly cite skateboard history, but
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's what the internet's for. Look it up.
Yeah, it's always been associated with punk rock, and we still have like concerts at Major Taylor whenever they're done with construction. And
I've heard about that. Talk to me more about skating. Like, what about maybe from a less theoretical or logical standpoint, like
Okay.
from like, what is it you enjoy about movement? Are there specific tricks you like to do?
Yeah.
Maybe like different aspects of different parks that you like. That's a lot of questions, but
Sure. Yeah. I love spinning. I truly feel that that's like the best nervous system regulation you can get. Also, I'm an engineer, so my emotions are very logical. But I mean, the feeling of the speed and the feeling of fear and overcoming fear, and usually, especially because I usually try not to come alone if I can help it. You know, the encouragement from other people. Even honestly, anytime that I am alone, somebody is there to be encouraging and to be encouraged, which is also fun. You get to celebrate other people's wins, even if you don't get any.
Yeah, definitely. One of the coolest places I have ever visited is the skate park at Venice Beach in Los Angeles.
I was there when I visited Carly. That's actually where we were the day that we came up with this.
Okay. But what I love about that space, because it's a very touristy place, but I think a lot of the people who hang out there are not tourists. Like, they're just like locals because it's like such an iconic skate place. But I love that there's just like people there watching and like cheering you on when you're like out there doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really cool thing about, like you said, like about skating and about this culture. It's like, it's in most cases like very uplifting.
Yeah. And those guys are celebrities in a way. Like, there are so many videos of the same guys online, but when Carly and I were there, we were introducing ourselves and talking like old friends, and we all watched the sunset together. That's the crazy thing about skating. No one here is pretentious. Well, I won't say no one, but it's culturally a non-pretentious place.
Yeah. And I think I wonder if a lot of that has to do with like how humbled you get when you fall on your ass.
Yeah, you learn to laugh at yourself. I mean, I do think sometimes traditional skateboard culture, you hear a lot of people like yelling at themselves or basically beating themselves up for not being able to get something. But me and my friends, we are constantly laughing at ourselves falling and just having a grand old time.
Yeah. Have you ever like eaten shit and like gotten hurt or no?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm about a year out from a concussion, actually.
How's that going? Are you doing all right?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, it was very rough, and I was planning to take my licensure exam for engineering, and right after I got it, and I did take it. So it ended up working out, but it was like truly one of the hardest things I've ever gone through, just maintaining a full-time job and that goal.
Well, I'm glad. I hope you're doing better. You seem to be doing better. So we're here at Willard Park on East Washington, and the skate park is behind us. There's people actively skating. Is there something special about Willard Park that you like, other than just like coming here with the blanket that we're sitting on and like sitting under the tree? More so like focused on the skate park itself.
Yeah, I love the bowl behind us as well. It's just all this was built around the time I moved to Indy, which was 2021, and the bowl is a place where you can truly just flow around. Like, if you know how to carve, then you can just go infinitely until your legs give out, which
carve means like keep momentum.
Yes. Well, carving
See, I told you I'm going to be asking.
Yeah. For me, carving would be you go up a ramp and you stay facing forward the whole time, so you have to make an arc to face forward as you're going back down the ramp.
Got it.
So yeah, you make like a sunset.
Oh, I see.
You carve. And it's similar to surfing on a surfboard. So similar physical mechanism.
Yeah. It's all physics.
Yes. They were developed in tandem, these surfboards and skateboards. And skateboards were based on the original roller skates.
There's a guy who rides down the Monon on like what is effectively skis, but with wheels.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't seen that.
He's got like ski sticks, but his it's like long roller skates that are like platforms.
Whoa.
And then he's like using ski poles to like move himself.
That's incredible.
It's funny to hear you draw that connection between roller skates and skateboards, but also see some guy with like 2 small skateboards on his feet, basically.
Yeah, I thought for sure you were going to bring up the unicyclist.
But there is a unicyclist also.
One time I passed him on my bike with my roller skates around my neck, and I was like, I have 10 times as many wheels as you. And we laughed our
You said that
off.
to him?
I did, yeah.
What are some other parks around town other than Willard that like you really enjoy going to?
So Major Taylor
And then also,
is
sorry,
great.
extension of the question, what aspect of them do you like?
Okay. Yeah, Major Taylor is near and dear to my heart because my first experiences there were concerts, and it's usually skaters in their own bands. And just so part of it becomes a dance floor, and we all stay off that part skating wise. But I don't know. It's definitely a place that I feel connected to everybody that's there. It's the oldest park, I think, at maybe 30 years old-ish.
Which is consistent with like when skating became popular.
Yeah. And I am impressed. I've tried out the like other regional small cities, and really our skate parks are above par, I would say, or below, whatever is good.
Yeah. Do you like at Major Taylor's? So there's Major Taylor like velodrome,
The velodrome.
and then just south of that, right, is the skate park.
Yeah.
And it's all like one. I don't understand the layout. I don't think because I've never been over there.
Okay.
But it's like a big park.
Yeah.
And then just the skate park is just part of it.
Yeah.
So what you find most compelling about Major Taylor is like the communal aspect of it, just like hanging out and like the concert series and like the sort of emotional memories of the concert or music.
It's also for a while it was like the only park that had lights, which is
that's key.
It's a choice. It's a very deliberate choice, but now Willard still doesn't have them, but Lawrence Park got them as well. Lawrence Park I have to brag about because it's actually my favorite park here. If Lawrence counts as Indy in that context.
I think Lawrence counts as Indy. Yeah. Township.
But so it used to be in bad spirits, but this skater Casper Jones and Chell, who runs Lady Skate Squad, kind of campaigned to get the city to believe that fixing it up would be worth their while.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had artists paint it with these gorgeous murals just across the entire thing, and they've really improved the surface, and they put lights in, and it is just glorious. Honestly, that one might be similar in age to Major Taylor, but it was so not usable before that I didn't find it on a map, even though it's the closest one to my house.
Wait, I think I missed which one that is. Sorry.
It's called Lawrence Park.
Oh, Lawrence Park. You mentioned Lawrence, though.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Or we call it LP.
LP. Let's talk about. I've lost the name, but you mentioned Chell.
Chell, yeah.
Chell.
Yeah.
And Chell leads the organization called what?
Lady Skate Squad.
Lady Skate Squad.
Yeah.
And you're a member of Lady Skate Squad.
Yeah.
What is Lady Skate Squad?
Lady Skate Squad is so we have a weekly meeting. They have more sporadic meetings at different skate parks around the city. I think they're a bit more skateboard. I might be the only quad skater who's a regular there, or I was in the past, but it does spread like wildfire once people see that it exists sometimes. But then, yeah, I would also say grind culture and board meeting are both really, really beginner friendly, and Lady Skate Squad is beginner friendly, but it is especially a good place to be inspired if you want to really push yourself to be more of an advanced skater.
Yeah, it's like leveling up a little bit. It's like moving up in tier or whatever.
Yeah. the skaters there inspire me so much, actually. Claire, Charlie, if you're listening, you guys are so cool.
So let's scoot back to board meetings.
Yeah.
What is it about providing space for LGBTQ plus folks and allies that you find so compelling?
First of all, I love people in this community. The creativity is off the charts. The willingness to find fun and to cope with the difficulty of life with fun and community. It's just a great place to be, but also Indianapolis is a friendly pocket in a pretty unfriendly environment for queer people. So it just truly coming to the skate park in a group, we all feel safer. People who would not be willing to go to the skate park are willing to go because we are all there together. And yeah, I truly think it just like feeds my soul to hang out with other queer and trans people.
Yeah. Is it is there a level of like mentorship or camaraderie that comes with like hanging out people like yourself?
Yeah, I think so. There are a lot of stereotypes or like intra-community stereotypes. I don't think other people think they're stereotypes, but I don't know, like the carabiners thing. I don't know what.
I don't know. What does that mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know anything.
Maybe I should give away the low. But yeah, carabiners are very lesbian or sapphic. They can, yeah. Gay ladies love carabiners. Everyone, like carabiners are so practical, and that's kind of why it became a thing, because like, especially like butch lesbians have a history of just being great tinkerers and like amazing at just, I see something that needs to be done and I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. And so they need a carabiner for like their 50 keys and tools.
Yeah. We're in the midst of Pride Month. We sure are. Is there anything special that you guys do for Pride Month?
In the past, there has been, usually I think Carly would get a dessert and maybe some rainbow decorations, which is something that I probably will do. But the first 2 weekends of Pride, I'm just going to enjoy the events other people are putting on because it's very busy out here.
Wait, you said to me on text, like before we met, you were like, Pride Month is a full-time job or something like that.
It is. Yeah, tomorrow I have Girl Pride and also rehearsal to be in the marching band for the parade, for the Pride of Indy marching band.
Okay, this is a new aspect of you. What instrument do you play?
I play the flute.
You play the flute? How long have you been playing the flute?
I played from ages 10 to 18, and then I picked it up last year again to play with Pride of Indy band.
I need to hang out with the Pride of Indy band. I have heard of them before.
Yeah, they're awesome.
My wife played the flute at one time.
What?
If I'm wrong, she'll fight me, but I believe she did.
Yeah, she should join the Pride of Indy band.
Anyone's welcome, I'm pretty sure, right?
It is, yeah, allies welcome.
Is playing with the Pride of Indy band like just for funsies, or are you like, I don't know how to ask the question. What compelled you to pick up the flute again?
It is just for funsies in essence, and like there's some physiological thing of it's extremely easy to connect with other people and co-regulate when you're playing music or singing together. And I know that because I did like choir band and musicals and stuff in high school and junior high, but I had been missing it dearly. And just hearing a simple concert band song that you're actually in the middle of and part of making is one of the coolest feelings ever.
Yeah.
Even if you're not very good, which I am not.
But at least you like feel a part of a whole, kind of, it's like the output is beautiful, even if the individual pieces are a little rough around the edges.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that if there's something I can't play, I'm just not going to play it because there are like 9 other flautists around me. So the Royal U board meetings meet in the parking lot near Factory Arts District fairly often. Mm-hmm.
Do you set up obstacles, or because it's just a parking, it's flat?
Yeah,
What's going on there?
they do. They put in little curbs, which they put in because people drove really aggressively there. But
No surprise.
yeah, we use them to do little tiny tricks on. People have brought rails that you can, the portable rails. I don't own any obstacles, so I can't bring them myself. One time, Carly and Macy rented a quarter pipe.
You can rent a quarter pipe?
You can.
What?
So, anything is possible, but we don't take money and we don't make money.
Mm-hmm.
So far, we don't spend money. And by we, I mean me.
Yeah, definitely. I mentioned at the beginning that I find skating like really compelling. I've always thought skaters were really cool, and I think a lot of that comes from my experience playing Tony Hawk games when I was really young, which are not as common anymore. How do you find that people come to you, and how do they get into it? Is it just sort of a yearning to be with other queer folks, or is it I don't know, did they read a book or see a video, or I don't know?
I think a lot of people hear word of mouth, or they see it on Instagram, or the person who told me about it just skated by. My friend Jenny she's moved to Denver since, but she has an amazing little German Shepherd that loves to skate with her. So she just holds the leash, and she's an inline skater and just goes. And we would skate up Mass Ave that way, and sometimes on the Monon. And one time she skated bonsai right past Grind Culture. So yeah, again, it's a magical place.
Yeah.
And now they've just opened the other side of the Factory Arts District, so there wasn't a lot else there for a while, although it is on Pogue's Run Trail. It's basically on the Monon. There's a Pacers bike share station there, and there's a gorgeous little park, Windsor Park, as well.
Well, there's there's Spades Park.
Okay, Spades
which is in the Windsor Park neighborhood. Windsor Park is a little bit further behind it, but it's still in the Windsor Park neighborhood. But Spades Park is the one across from the Can-Can.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there's just a little native plant area and fire pit right in the.
Oh, and that tiny little park is Fletcher Park. Not to be confused with Fletcher Place.
Fletcher Park.
My mother listens to these podcasts, and if I were Mom, Fletcher Park is not in Fletcher Place. It's in Windsor Park,
Wow.
near the Factory Arts District. She'd be like, my brain is melting.
Yeah. Yeah. And Fletcher Park is really just a tiny thing, but it's actually, now they've opened, Centerpoint Brewery has always been there, and they just opened the Daisy Bar and Legacy Tokyo, and they have vintage pop-ups in this new building, and no one has told us not to skate in the new building, so.
I will say it's really open, so I regularly use that building to go to the bathroom, and I just ride my bike straight into it.
Yeah.
So it's no one, I don't feel like I'm impeding on anyone. There's no one ever in there.
Right.
And it's a concrete floor, so you just cruise on in.
Yeah. I think biking and skating are very similar in that you get to see the city in a very different way.
Yeah.
Going around that on your feet or your.
Yeah. Do you skate long distances? I know that you have an e-bike.
I don't have an e-bike.
Am I just making that up?
Yeah, I don't have one. I just use the Indy Rides free service.
So you do ride e-bikes.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I used it today to go to the library.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was free stuff maxing.
Hey, I have to plug this every time. If you live in Marion County, did you know that you can get free 30-minute bike rides on the Pacers Bike Share?
Unlimited.
You just have to check in every 30 minutes. I've never done it because I have my own bike, but I'm working on it.
I do it all the time.
So the question was, do you go distance on skating?
Yeah, sometimes. The furthest I think I've gone in a day was about 12 miles.
Oh my God. That's far.
It is far.
On a not bike.
Yeah, it really, really depends on the terrain a lot. because if you're on a road that's rough, it's kind of like using a jackhammer all day. Like
Your like legs become jelly.
yeah, OSHA would not allow it. But then if you were on this, which is like the epitome of smoothness, then I could just skate on that until I have to like eat and sleep.
If you were trying to sell skating, whether it's quads or skateboarding to someone, and you're trying to get them to join board meeting or not, just like get them into the hobby, what would you say?
I would say this is a perfect way to shed the responsibilities of everyday life and the false formalities of everyday life and any performance you feel that you have to do, and just feel free to move however feels right, to learn new things, to make mistakes that you accept and learn from, and meet people that will make your life better.
I love that. You know what? Your description actually made me think of ceramics. Because like when you talk about making mistakes, like you have to be so willing to just like let things go.
Yeah.
When you are like learning ceramics at first.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's like weirdly similar.
There was once a grind culture person whose friend MK was lending us her garage and kilns to do hand building ceramics. So grind culture is also the only reason I've ever done ceramics.
Oh, that's funny.
I still have my spoon holder.
We're going to move on. That's what I call the canned questions. Third Space Indy is sponsored by City Rising. City Rising is a social impact studio. Most recently, they implemented an eviction data dashboard that looks to highlight and reduce the impact of the over 30,000 evictions, mostly affecting Black and Latino women and their children, that Indianapolis faces every year. Learn more at cityrising.org. City Rising has sponsored a question, which is, what is a third space to you?
A third space to me is, I listened to what you said about it being the idea that it's a place that conversation is mostly is the main event.
Yeah.
And to me, that rings true, but doesn't have to necessarily be verbal conversation, just like co-creating reality with the people around you.
Ooh, that's poetic.
I've been reading. I went to the library today.
What's would you say like that's how you feel about skating? Like you're just sort of, goodness, that was aggressive. You're existing in space with people, and as you say, co-creating your existence.
Yeah, totally. I think people are always looking for new ways to interact with this space, even coming here year after year, and always finding easily new things to try.
Yeah, that makes sense. Next question, related to the previous one. What is a third space or place that has existed for you previously, but no longer does?
Good question. I would say the pottery nights that we used to do would be a good one. It ended up kind of petering out because people got busy and it was hard to commit to something regular, which I think happens to a lot of spaces. Mm-hmm. And spaces can be ephemeral, but yeah.
So good. No, yeah. You're like right.
Yeah. So I feel like some spaces are amazing, but you know, they're in their place and time, and that taught me. I do have a knack for skating, I think, and I would go to the rink as a kid, so it wasn't that hard for me to pick it up once I wanted to. But ceramics was humbling. I have the spoon holder, but like I have to wash it painstakingly by hand because like clay will chip off if I'm not careful because it's not good.
Your spoon holder?
It's bad.
Have you ever considered running it back and reattempting?
Well, I would need access to a kiln, and I know there are lots of them in the city that I could easily access. So actually, maybe I will run it back.
There's at least one person who listens to this podcast who has access to the kiln. I know of actually like multiple.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of ceramicists in the city, I will say. I just got this awesome mug from Dirt Girl where she puts like a bow around the top, sort of a frill, and then it's got a cat whose belly is a strawberry. So.
Wait. So it's a cat like on its back, and its belly is a strawberry?
No.
Or is it a cat head and the cat body is a strawberry?
Yeah.
I don't know Dirt Girl.
Well, she's awesome. I met her at abortion. I don't know if bleep that.
That's like such an aggressive name.
A person based.
No matter how I feel about it, it's still an aggressive name.
I know. That's kind of the point. I think a lot of it, and like the point of pride is not like the opposite of like humility. It's the opposite of shame. And I feel like the same thing with fuck yeah abortion. Like it's in your face because there's so much, because people expect you to be ashamed, and that is ridiculous, frankly.
Yeah.
So, and it just makes everyone's lives worse. It makes the people who are ashamed their lives worse. And I don't know. It keeps everybody stuck in that idea that you have to fit into a certain criteria, and you have to have one idea of success that you pursue, and if you don't get it, then really what's the point of you being here? You know, that's kind of the darkest possible side of what counterculture is counter to. But yeah, it has. I definitely grew up like many people in the Midwest, especially like many queer people in the Midwest, feeling very controlled, feeling very stifled and lost, even because things about me were considered to be taboo and things that I should change. So, fuck yeah, abortion.
Do you feel like you are doing better now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, wait. This is easy transition here. Before we talked about, you mentioned something, which was that you're 28.
Yeah.
And you said, Michael, you're not old when you hit 30. Thank you. You said when a queer person hits 30, their life gets immediately better, and when they hit 40, it gets even better still.
Yes.
And I said, I don't understand that. And you said, I have an explanation. So please share.
Yeah, it's basically what we were just talking about, that a lot of queer people grow up not understanding themselves and not getting the love that they want and need. And then once we are adults with autonomy, we find each other. We share that love with each other. We realize that it was ridiculous to feel shame over this thing that hurts no one and is just a part of who we are.
Yeah.
And I mean, life just gets better and better. I also think, at least, I think in the sapphic world, there's something very attractive about people who are older. You never feel like, oh, I guess I can't say what people who are 40 feel like, but it doesn't seem like people turn 40 and they're out of the game. You know, it's like, I'm more comfortable in who I am than ever. I know who I am. I'm accomplishing my goals in life, and often I'm still looking for love, because I'm looking for love in a tiny community that, you know, isn't immediately visible all the time. Like, you don't just see someone at the mall and assume necessarily. Yeah, that's another good reason that queer people hang out, because then you know that the people you're with are queer, and you don't feel like you might accidentally make someone uncomfortable who might really not like that. Yeah,
totally. I really appreciate your perspective on aging, because, so when I did my 20th episode, it was my birthday, and I turned 30, and I always had a joke. So here's a short story. I always had a joke that when I turned 30, I was, quote, nearly dead, and I wanted to start a podcast about talking to people who recently turned 30 or were going to turn 30 soon and like get their perspective on life, and like how much potential there was like going forward. And the name of the podcast was going to be Nearly Dead.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's like a very similar idea of like fuck yeah abortion, where it's like it's not actually about that necessarily. It's more about freedom of expression, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
What is your to tie it in? What is your expectation for yourself when you turn 30?
When I turn 30, I want to travel somewhere really cool that year and be so organized about it that I get to go with people I love as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas of where that would be?
I would love to see the cenotes in northeastern Mexico. There's a book by Silvia Moreno Garcia called Gods of Jade and Shadow that is set in that region of Mexico, and just the way she wrote about it made me it's a happy place in my mind. The only other place I've ever felt that way about was Copenhagen, because as a kid I read it was the happiest place on earth. And I did get to go there.
I think they still are.
They
At least I like to think so.
I went in 2017, and lo and behold, I was so happy.
Every episode, I ask a question from the previous guest. The previous guest to this episode was Hang Don, who is a content creator, drag king, artist, filmmaker, many things. But they asked the question, what can you do to stop being an enemy to yourself?
Have mercy on yourself. I actually make mistakes all the time, big mistakes, and I work in infrastructure. So obviously there are people checking me, and none of my mistakes are able to be that consequential, but they can be expensive. And it is just, yeah. I always want to take accountability and not blame other people when the mistake is my fault. But at the same time, I do not have to think anything cruel about myself beyond that. I just need to know what about me made me do this, and what can I do to change my expectations, or just get help to do this differently, or change my behavior, you know? Yeah, that voice in your head that critiques you constantly. My friend Apollo taught me to call that voice Elizagirth. And we just
Elizagirth?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What is the breakdown of that word? I need to know.
Well,
we're spelling it out.
Yeah. You got your Elizabeth and then Girth.
Yeah.
And I think it's just to make it silly, because truly I think there are people who strategize different ways to deal with this inner critic. But first of all, the inner critic is the same voice that judges other people too. And if you learn to be kind to yourself, it's easier to be kind to other people and treat them as they deserve. And yeah, but for me, making fun of that voice is an awesome way to just like minimize its impact.
Dope. I always say like we're our own worst critics all the time. I used to bake bread frequently, and I should get back into it, but when you bake a loaf of bread as the person who created it and you do it fairly frequently, you go, this bread sucks. Or at least I would. And then you like give someone the bread and they go, oh my God, thank you for this bread.
Right.
And you're like, oh, actually the bread was amazing.
Yeah.
Because even though like I think it's terrible, like the crumb was bad, whatever, it's the other person's just like, thank you for this bread. Yeah. It's delicious. And I think like when you think about the way you should view the world, it's like, oh, just enjoy the bread, bro. I don't know.
Just enjoy the bread. I think probably the hardest trick that I haven't learned at the skate park is when somebody compliments me, not immediately saying something cruel about myself, or
like it wasn't that good or whatever.
Yeah, like I'm good to someone who hasn't seen great skaters, but you know, I've seen the Tony Hawks of quad roller skating. And
when I see your videos on Instagram, maybe I should comment more and just be like, this is sick, but I am always like, dang, she can skate.
That's so sweet. Yeah, it's always been hard for me to take compliments. Yeah,
we all struggle with that.
we all do, but I think it is helpful in a lot of ways if you learn how to take them.
Totally. Is there anything else on your mind, on your heart, that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I feel like yes, but I'm blanking right now.
We can take a moment and sit.
Yeah.
That's what editing is for.
Okay.
I love the sound of the skate park, by the way.
It's a great ASMR here.
It's just like clicks and scrapes
Yeah.
and sometimes grunts when
Yeah.
you take a tumble, but
We've got a good crowd here and there's not a lot of yelling. I have been thinking a lot about, I read a book called The Power of Fun, which is centers on the concept of true fun as something where you're experiencing play, connection, and flow at the same time. And obviously my mind went to skating because that's the easiest way for me to get into that all three setting.
yeah. Are you able to define those 3 words?
Yeah. Play can be a pretty wide definition. It varies between people. So you could be playfully having a conversation with somebody, or you could be playing by dancing or just being silly or being creative. There are a lot of specific terms, like different ways to play that Catherine Price lists out that I can't remember all of, but then connection, most people have true fun, which kind of, you're having it when you're having it. You're totally in the moment, and the way that she asks is, what's a time when you would describe as so fun? And when people hear the "so," they know. But so connection, that usually happens with other human beings, and both connection and flow really require a break from distractions and like to focus on one thing for a while. So a big part of the book is about kind of leaving your phone behind, which simulates fun by triggering dopamine over and over again. And dopamine is what tells you what is salient, what matters, what you should come back to. And true fun is a way to kind of redirect that compass to what you actually intend for your life. And it brings us together.
Yeah.
Also, laughter is like a telltale sign that she lists. Like, if you're laughing, you're probably having true fun.
That means I have fun a lot.
I also have fun a lot. I think there's like a term in the book, easy to laugh. I can't remember what culture the term came from, but easy to laugh. This is a key to make your life better, is being easy to laugh.
Yeah.
Something I have always been.
I love that. I will say, I think just I think doing this podcast, and I feel like I've been at peace here with you. It's been very pleasant. Is like true fun. It's like sitting down with someone most of the time I've never met before. Like you and I have maybe been in the same space. You rode past me on the bike once, but most of the time meeting someone for the first time, learning a little bit about them, and just and I can't touch my phone because it's the thing recording.
Yeah.
Is like true fun, and I laugh a lot.
Yeah. I love that. You're committing to your true fun. This is something that you're doing all the time. You've been really busy already this Pride Month with
the previous. What do you mean?
It sounded like you had back-to-back interviews.
We've got. I'm filling the month with gays. That's the. I think.
We'd love to see it.
Sorry. One last question.
Okay.
It came back. One last question. What question would you like to ask? Also, sorry. Back it up. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciated your final thoughts. Think about how you could have real fun people listening. But one last question. What question would you like to ask the next Third Space Indy guest?
If you could go anywhere with anyone at any time, What time, place, and person would you choose?
Time, place, and person. TPP.
Yeah.
I always like to answer the question. Time, place, and person. It feels so mean to pick one. Okay, I have to do a quick aside here. Part of my issue with doing this podcast is I almost universally like the guest. And even saying almost feels mean. Like, I do like every single guest I've had on, and the issue I've had with doing this podcast is I have people that I consider friends, and now I have so many friends that I feel that I'm failing all of them because I don't have enough time to hang out with them. To answer your question, picking a single person is difficult. However, I do love...
Well, it can be a group of people, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I do love my wife dearly. And I also miss my summer camp friends. I would... what?
That's just really cute. That just that brings back cute memories for me too.
Yo, shout out Lizzie Jones.
Yeah.
Shout out McGee Catlett. Shout out Griffin Weber. He's getting married soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of people. Griffin Cody. You're all of you people are out here.
I don't have a wife yet.
Layla Bolanovich, great last name. Oh wait, no, Bolanovich might be gone. She got married. What?
I can't.
If I could be this, it sounds like so sad in a way, but like if I could exist as I did in like 2017 was like one of the best summers of my life.
Okay.
At my summer camp. I really wish adults had summer camp and a summer break.
There is an adult summer camp.
Yeah.
My friend Tenna
it's not the same.
Used to, well, yeah. I've never tried it, but I do feel that skating has like given me that a similar. There's also a concept in the Power of Fun of playgrounds, which is like a place where the rules are different than the rest of the world. Like here, the rules are obviously different. Like you're not walking in most spaces. Like you're expected to skate. That's just a very obvious example, but I don't know. If you're in a pie making contest with people, you might it might be okay to make fun of people in a way that's comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
That usually would not be cool,
Totally.
to trash talk their pie.
Yeah.
But I feel like camp is the ultimate playground because you're in that space for days.
Mm-hmm.
You have time to really settle into the playground, and there are completely different rules from the rest of the world.
Definitely. And the very similar to the podcast, actually, the very beginning of summer camp, showing up Sunday is way different vibe and emotion and energy level wise than Thursday, Friday of the week. From a comfort and enjoy standpoint, but also sadness because it's ending.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fun. TPP, time, person, place. Great question. Coryn Hendrix. If you would like to be found, where can the people find you or board meetings?
You can find Board Meeting at Meeting Indy on Instagram. You can find me at Cinnamon Toast Crunch on Instagram.
I forgot about that.
And Board Meeting also has a Discord, which at the moment you just have to message me to get into, just in case.
Yep. We do a little bit of gatekeeping.
Just a little bit of gatekeeping. Maybe just gate watching.
That's funny. Thank you, Coryn, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of Third Space Indy. You can find Third Space Indy by going to Third Space Indy on Instagram or by going to thirdspaceindy.com, where I release a show notes and blog every week, except I'm literally months behind, but I'll get to it. Shout out to City Rising and shout out to Proformus. Proformus is an urban planning and design firm that helps neighbors and communities shape the places they already love. Based in Indianapolis, they're here to help you make your place happen one block at a time. That's about it. Hey, shout out as always to the local artist Jennison for letting me use your song Scared Rabbit as the intro music. Thanks once again for watching. See ya at the skate park.
See you there.
Bye.
On your bed of death with one regret. never said